I'm Conan O'Brien. I'm class of 1985. One of the most surreal experiences of my adult life is I spent a very intense period of my senior year writing a thesis called Literary Progeria in the Works of Flannery O'Connor and William Faulkner. It's this idea that I had fallen in love with, that the South was prematurely old because it was part of a young, undefeated nation, yet it was old in new defeat. And this is captured in children that are prematurely old. And that's a condition, it's a real disease called progeria. So I called it literary progeria, and that you can see these children in Faulkner and you can see them in Flannery O'Connor. So I wrote this thesis and finished it at the last second and handed it in. It did pretty well. One professor thought it was genius and gave it a summa. Another professor said, this guy's an idiot, and gave it cum laude. And then they gave it to a third professor to figure it out. And he said, I think he's a genius who's also an idiot, and then Magna. That's how academics works. So I get to graduate Magna, I get out of Harvard, and then I go off and I have this wild career in comedy and ups and downs and downs and ups, and all these things happen. And then about 2 years ago, I'm on tour, and this one fan says, look what I have, and hands me a copy of my thesis. They had gone to Lamont Library, checked out my thesis, photocopied it, and brought it and handed it to me after, just before I was going to do a show for 5,000 people. And I hadn't seen it since 1985. I'm holding it and I'm opening it up, and it's like a Vietnam vet going back into the jungle without being prepared beforehand. So I was shaking and looking at it and suddenly flashing back to the hamburgers that I kept under my bed because I would eat them while I was writing the thesis and doing the bibliography and put them under the bed and they would rot, and how I lost my mind. And so that was crazy. That was a coming full circle. I knew then it was time to die.